interesting subjects that is coming up as a consequence of Mitt Romney running for, and John Huntsman as well, running for the Republican nomination for President of the United States, is Mormonism, the whole issue of Mormonism. And this rebirth is perhaps the wrong word, but there actually is a theory that this continent, that Europeans living on this continent are now going through the fourth great awakening or reformation. That there was one in the late 1600s, that there was another one in the late 1700s, there was another one in the mid to late 1900 or 1800s, and that this is the fourth one. And that's a whole other theory that we'll get into sometime. But they're driven by basically fundamentalist Christianity. But the Great Awakening of the late 19th century included things like the creation of the Seventh-day Adventist Church by Ellen White and the creation of the Mormon religion by Joseph Smith and then Brigham Young, his buddy or disciple or whatever he was. I do not represent myself at all as an authority on Mormonism, but it seems to be playing a significant role in the Republican primary, because in states like Idaho, where there are a lot of Mormons, Mitt Romney wins easily, or Arizona, where there's a lot of Mormons. In states where there are very few Mormons, Mitt Romney has a serious problem. Alex McFarland is on the line with us. He is a Christian speaker, author of the book 10 Answers for Skeptics, alexmcfarland.com, the website. Dr. Alex McFarland, welcome to the program.
Tom, it's great to be back on. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. In fact, this piece that Brian Tashman wrote, which I think you're connected with, the conspicuous absence of the two Mormon presidential candidates, Mitt Romney and John Huntsman, from Saturday's Thanksgiving Family Forum was not lost on the religious right. Now, this goes back to November, but why were they not there? Were they not invited? Do they not consider themselves, what's going on?
Well, I think what's going on is that just as 9/11 brought Islam to the front page for a lot of people, and for the first time a lot of Americans began to become familiar with that worldview. I think now a lot of Americans are becoming familiar with Mormonism. And, in a way, I mean, while Mormons in many ways are exemplary citizens and, ethics and morality and family are very strong, a lot of things related not only to Christian life and practice, but to American life and American history in general are kind of taboo for some Mormons. And I think while...
for example?
Participating in things that like Christmas and Easter and celebrating what classical orthodoxy has believed, that Jesus Christ is deity, the Son of God. And,
Mormons don't practice Christmas and Easter?
Well, not the same way that classical orthodoxy would, that Christian orthodoxy would, because Christianity believes that Jesus Christ really is God incarnate.
But these were, most Americans who call themselves Christians or who call themselves secular, and even some people of other religions, celebrate Christmas and Easter in the kind of secular way that harken back to their original pagan roots, which was, Easter was a fertility rite. They would take the blood of rabbits and eggs, and they would eat eggs, and they'd take the blood of rabbits and sprinkle them on the fields in the spring so that the crops would grow well. Let's all go for fertility here. And Christmas was the winter solstice. It was the shortest day of the year, and so for thousands of years, the head guy would climb up on the top of the biggest mountain and find the biggest tree and set that thing on fire on the night of the shortest day of the year and say, I'm going to bring the sun back. And then as the days got longer and longer after that, everybody would say, he did it again, and he'd be the head guy for another year. And I mean, so people, are you saying Mormons don't have Christmas trees and don't do Easter bunnies?
Many of them do not. I know when I lived in Colorado 3 years, and we dialogued with many, many Mormons that would come to our front door often. And let me point out this. There are theological characteristics that need to be understood, and there are social characteristics. And while they might observe the same, holidays and days off work, theologically, Mormonism and Christianity are definitely polar opposites. And
yet Mormonism claims to be Christianity. And there are progressive Christian churches that claim to be Christian that Jerry Falwell would have eschewed. You may. There are fundamentalist churches that claim to be Christian that that I think some people kind of in the middle would say, no, that's not me. You know, I'm not about slaying people in the spirit, or whatever it may be. You know, and, the Anabaptists. You know, I'm not about not dancing.
Right.
There's this whole huge spectrum of Christianity. What makes you or anybody else the anointed one to say these other people aren't Christians?
Well, I wrote one book called Stand, Core Truths You Must Know for an Unshakable Faith, and I talk about the 6 most basic Christian beliefs that for 2,000 years all of Christendom have held. Slice the pie of Christianity in 3 slices: Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, Protestantism. All have affirmed the inspiration of Scripture, the virgin birth of Christ, the deity of Christ, his atonement on the cross. He paid for our sins. He rose. He's going to return. So inspiration, virgin birth, deity, atonement, resurrection,
Yeah,
return.
it's a familiar litany, or I guess litany is the wrong word. It sounds pejorative.
Exactly.
But I think everybody's familiar with that. So how do Mormons deviate from that stand?
When Joseph Smith came along in the 1800s, and I'm glad you mentioned the Second Great Awakening, because that was very emotive and less cognitive. It was very much experiential and not so much biblical. And out of the aftermath of the Second Great Awakening, we did get a lot of the religious groups. I'm not going to say that they're all cults, but you've got the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Latter-day Saints, the Seventh-day Adventists. You've got a lot of the groups that use Christian terminology, but with different definitions.
Well, there was widespread hysteria in the 1870s and 1880s in the United States that the world was going to end. That Ellen White led her merry band up the top of a mountain and waited for the world to end. And when it didn't end, she reinvented and what became the Seventh-day Adventist religion. I'm sure I'm mangling their history, but
it's true. And there were in fact, there's a very famous political cartoon of the Mormons going westward, and there's like a big skull, and over the forward of the skull is the word Utah, and there are just throngs marching into it. Yeah. And the Mormon history, the Millerites, so many of those other kind of doomsday groups out of the late 1800s.
Yeah. But see, I haven't spent much. I don't know any Mormons, frankly. I can't profess to have done any research or ever had this serious kind of conversation with a Mormon. But having been a vegetarian for a lot of years and having run a program for abused kids in New Hampshire back in the day that was vegetarian, the Seventh-day Adventists showed up, and because they're vegetarian. Yeah. And I got to know them pretty well because, they supported our program and they brought us food and of course they wanted to evangelize, which we did not allow. Yeah. And because we were not an evangelical program and we certainly weren't a Seventh-day Adventist program. But I found them to be wonderful people and that, in terms of Christian standards of behavior and common decency. And see, you've got your 6 things for Christianity. My thing for Christianity is Matthew 25. I think that's the essence of Christianity. I mean, that was the only place in the entire Bible where anybody came to Jesus and said, how do I get into heaven? And he said, feed the hungry, heal the sick, give water to the thirsty, visit those in prison unjustly. And then the disciples freaked out because they'd never seen him hungry. And he said, as you do to the least among these, your brethren, you've done unto me. I mean, that in my mind is, and Mormons practice that, don't they?
Well, they do. And let me say, as far as being, benevolent agents in the culture and socially, I mean, there's so much common ground. And I think on this common ground, we all need to rally and pull together. I just think it needs to be pointed out that theologically there are differences.
Yeah. But well, I get that. And we're out of time, but good shot. AlexMcFarland.com. People can read more about it. Alex, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Tom, I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, good talking with you. This is a conversation that is only beginning if Mitt Romney is the presidential nominee.